Good morning and welcome to today's Aviation Subcommittee hearing titled Finding the Right Frequency, 5G Deployment and Aviation Safety.
If we look at what has happened and we found ourselves in this absolutely ridiculous, inexcusable situation, after knowing for years that there were challenges here, that there were issues here, and finding ourselves in a situation where at the very last minute, their claims, cries, demands, what have you, to delay deployment in something that was entirely preventable. Something, as the chair noted, issues had been raised not months before, but years and years before.
As they deploy more of these towers, they want to put them right in the flight path because, we want to get to that neighborhood over there. That's going to be a high profit center for us, so we want to have an antenna right there. There have to be some restrictions and agreements because we cannot have conflicting industries. Having a dropped call is way less serious than having a dropped airplane out of the sky.
From a gentleman from Hawaii, Mr. Representative Kahele, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Mahalo, Mr. Chair, and thank you so much for putting on this really important committee. And hello to Chair Larson and Ranking Member Graves and Administrator Dixon for convening this critical hearing so that we can ensure that our subcommittee is able to conduct proper oversight into the deployment of 5G. As a commercial airline pilot with Hawaiian Airlines, I understand firsthand the importance that radio altimeters play to ensure pilots are able to fly in all weather conditions. The aviation industry has spent years warning that 5G signals could cause radio frequency interference with altimeters, and I'm disheartened that it has come to this point. There was clearly a breakdown in the interagency communications process. I think Chair DeFazio highlighted the failure of the Trump administration to put the right people in the right positions to ensure that this didn't happen. It did, and as a result, it has disrupted millions of passengers in our communities, especially our airlines. I have a question for Administrator Dixon. The first question I have is, and I can only speak for the airline that I work for, Hawaiian Airlines AMOCs expire on 28 February 2022. That's in 25 days. I don't know what the other expiration dates for all the other U.S. airlines and the locations that they fly to when their AMOCs expire. I can only speak to Hawaii's flagship airline, which expire on 28 Feb 2022. The amount of workload that pilots have to deal with, that the airlines, that dispatchers have to deal with, they're already stressed and dealing with COVID, and now they have to deal with potential disruptions in their instrument approaches for Cat 2 and Cat 3 runways. And so my question is, what is the plan between now and the next 25 days? Are we going to extend those AMOCs again? Are we going to, get right up to the 24th, 23rd, 24th of February and potentially have another disruptive day throughout our nation's airspace system? What are we doing to plan between now and the next 25 days for not just this airline's current AMOCs, but the other U.S. domestic fleets AMOCs that potentially have expirations dates in the near future?
Congressman, thank you very much for the question because as you point out very correctly, predictability and consistency is extremely important in our business. It's important. I'm an operator myself. I'm a pilot myself, and I know exactly what you're talking about. The last thing that you want is uncertainty on the flight deck or at the dispatch desk. The reason that the AMOCs expire is based on the next tranche that we expect from the telecommunications companies and their ability to be able to provide us with precise latitude, longitude, elevation, signal shape, all the things that I talked about earlier, so that we can apply that. We have a tool that we have developed in the last few weeks that allows us to take their data, and this is getting to be more and more of a routine occurrence. We take their data, we put it into the tool and determine where the pressure points are and whether their next deployment will comport with with our safety model around airports to ensure safe performance for radio altimeters. That process has been, because the initial deployment happened on the 19th of January, and then there was another tranche right the 1st of February. There's been pretty rapid succession of AMOCs. We expect for that cadence to be longer as we go forward. We've asked for as much forward visibility as we possibly can. And this gets into the difference that I talked about a minute ago between the two industries about how new technologies are rolled out. This time of year, the telcos are experiencing delays with work crews and things like that. We're learning a lot about their business, and I promise you, we're going to smooth this process out and make it more predictable, because that is in everyone's best interest, and they've committed to work with us on that.
Thanks, Administrator. I'll use my last 20 seconds just for a yes or no answer. Can you assure our operators on the flight deck and the passengers in the back that to these critical airports that require Cat 2 or Cat 3 approaches, that these airports are safe to fly into and execute a successful instrument approach with the current AMOCs that exist today?
Absolutely. Safety is something that we will not compromise. And if we've authorized low visibility operations, you can count on the level of safety that for the performance of those systems that we've always counted on the public.
Thank you, sir. And Mahalo, Chair, I yield back.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Representative Burchett from Tennessee for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure following my ukulele playing colleague from Hawaii. I hope to visit him soon. Maybe we could organize a Codell over there, preferably beachside. That would be good.
Sorry, we didn't start the clock. Could you take 10 seconds off of Mr. Burchett's clock, please? Okay.
I'm sure that'll make YouTube.